Home invasion horror story. Lauren Mitchell heard the first knock at 11:47 p.m. She was alone in her two-story suburban home in Portland, Oregon. Her husband David away on a business trip to Seattle. Lauren had been watching television in the living room, a glass of wine in hand, trying to relax after a stressful week at the law firm where she worked. The knock wasn't loud, just 3 soft taps on the front door, almost polite. Lauren muted the TV and listened. Silence. Then 3 more knocks, slightly louder this time. She checked her phone. No missed calls, no texts from neighbors. Who would be at her door this late on a Wednesday night? Lauren walked to the front door and peered through the peephole. The porch light illuminated an empty front step. No one there. "Hello," she called through the door. No response. Probably kids playing pranks, Lauren thought, though it was late for that. She returned to the living room, but the uneasy feeling lingered. She texted David. "Someone just knocked on the door, but no one's there. Weird." His reply came immediately. "Don't open the door. Check the security cameras." Lauren had forgotten about the Ring doorbell David had installed last month. She pulled up the app on her phone and scrolled back to 11:47 p.m. The footage showed her front porch empty. No person, no movement, nothing that could have made that knocking sound. "That's impossible," Lauren whispered. "I heard it clearly." She watched the live feed, and everything appeared normal. The street was quiet. Her neighbors' houses dark, except for a few porch lights. Lauren was about to close the app when she noticed something odd, a shadow at the edge of the camera's view, just beyond her front gate. It stood perfectly still, human-shaped but somehow wrong, like a cutout against the darkness. Lauren's heart rate picked up. She zoomed in on the live feed, but the shadow didn't move, didn't breathe. It just stood there, watching her house. Then it waved, a slow, deliberate wave, directly at the camera. Lauren dropped her phone, her heart hammering. She grabbed it again with shaking hands and called 911. 911, what's your emergency? "There's someone outside my house. They knocked on my door, and now they're just standing there, watching." "Are they on your property, ma'am?" "No, they're on the sidewalk, but I'm afraid if they're on public property. There's not much we could do unless they're threatening you or trespassing." "Have they tried to enter your home?" "No, but I can send an officer to do a welfare check if you'd like, but it might be 20 to 30 minutes before someone's available. We have several priority calls right now." Lauren bit back her frustration. "Yes, please send someone. I'm alone and this person is scaring me." After hanging up, Lauren checked the app again. The shadow was gone. Relief flooded through her, quickly replaced by a different fear. If the person had moved, where had they gone? Lauren went through the house, checking every window, every door, making sure everything was locked. The house suddenly felt too big, too many rooms, too many places someone could hide if they'd somehow gotten inside. Upstairs, she checked the master bedroom, the guest room, the bathroom, all empty, all locked. She was being paranoid. The person had probably just been walking by, noticed the camera, waved as a joke, and moved on. But the knocking, how did she explain the knocking when no one had been there? Lauren returned downstairs and poured herself another glass of wine, larger this time. She sat on the couch, phone in hand, watching the security camera feed. The street remained empty and quiet. At 12:13 a.m., her phone buzzed with notification. "Motion detected at your front door." Lauren's blood ran cold. She opened the app and watched the live feed. A figure stood on her front porch, face pressed against the door, hands cupped around their eyes as if trying to see inside through the frosted glass panel. They wore dark clothing and a hood that obscured their features. Lauren's breath came in short gasps as she watched the figures slowly turn their head toward the camera. Even with the hood, Even in the darkness, Lauren could see it clearly. The person had no face. Where eyes, nose, and mouth should have been with smooth, blank skin like an unfinished mannequin. Yet the head tilted as if studying the camera, as if it could see despite having no eyes. Lauren's scream caught in her throat. This couldn't be real. This had to be some kind of mask, some elaborate Halloween prank, even though it was February. The figure raised one hand and knocked again, 3 deliberate taps, while staring directly at the camera. Then it spoke, though it had no mouth. "Let me in, Lauren." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, a whisper that seemed to bypass her phone speaker and echo directly in her skull. Lauren threw her phone across the room and ran to the kitchen, grabbing the largest knife from the block. Her hand shook so badly she nearly dropped it. "This isn't real," she whispered. "This can't be real." A sound came from upstairs, footsteps, slow and deliberate, moving across the guest room floor. But she just checked upstairs. Everything had been locked. No one could have gotten in, unless they were already inside. Lauren's mind raced. Call 911 again. No, they'd said 20 to 30 minutes. She needed to get out now, get to her car, drive somewhere safe. But to reach her car, she'd have to go out the front door, where that thing might be waiting, or the back door, through the dark backyard. The footsteps upstairs stopped. Silence pressed down on the house, heavy and expectant. Then a voice called from upstairs, and Lauren's entire world tilted. "Lauren? Are you down there?" It was David's voice. Her husband. But David was in Seattle, 200 miles away. She'd talked to him on the phone an hour ago. "David." Lauren called back, her voice cracking. "Yeah, honey, I came home early. Surprise." The voice was perfect. David's warm tone, his slight Northwest accent. Exactly right. "Come upstairs. I want to show you something." Lauren's hands tightened on the knife. This wasn't David. Couldn't be David. But it sounded exactly like him. "Why didn't you call?" Lauren asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming home?" A pause. Then, "I wanted to surprise you. Come upstairs, Lauren. Please." The please sounded wrong, too sweet, like honey laced with poison. Lauren backed toward the front door, keeping her eyes on the staircase, through the frosted glass panel. She could see a shadow, the faceless figure still standing on her porch. Trapped. She was trapped between whatever was upstairs and whatever waited outside. Her phone buzzed on the floor where she'd thrown it. Somehow, Lauren made herself pick it up, never taking her eyes off the stairs. A text from David. "Why aren't you answering?" "I've been calling. Are you okay?" Lauren's hands trembled as she called him. He answered immediately. "Lauren, Jesus, I've been trying to reach you for 10 minutes. What's wrong?" "David, where are you?" Lauren whispered. "In my hotel room in Seattle." "What's going on?" "You're scaring me. Someone's in the house. Someone pretending to be you. They're upstairs and..." The voice from upstairs called again, but now had changed, distorted. "Laureen, I know you're not alone. I can hear you talking." "Who are you talking to, Lauren?" "Get out of the house right now," David said urgently. "I'm calling the police." The lights went out. Every light in the house extinguished simultaneously, plunging Lauren into absolute darkness. Her phone screen provided the only illumination, a tiny beacon in the void. Footsteps on the stairs. Coming down. Slow. Deliberate. Each creak would amplify in the darkness. Lauren ran for the back door, stumbling through the dark kitchen, her phone's light bobbing wildly. She fumbled with the deadbolt, her fingers refusing to cooperate. Behind her, she heard breathing, not human breathing, but something wetter, raspier, like air whistling through torn tissue. The deadbolt finally clicked. Lauren yanked open the door and ran into the backyard, the February cold biting through her thin sweater. She didn't stop, didn't look back, just ran across the wet grass toward the neighbor's house. "Help!" Lauren screamed, pounding on the Hendersons' back door. "Please, someone help me." Lights came on. Mr. Henderson opened the door, his face creased with concern. "Lauren, what's wrong?" "Someone's in my house," Lauren sobbed. "Please, call the police. There's someone in my house." Mr. Henderson pulled her inside while his wife called 911. Lauren collapsed on their couch, shaking uncontrollably, while Mrs. Henderson wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. The police arrived 7 minutes later. 3 cars, lights flashing. Officers swept Lauren's house room by room while she watched from the Hendersons' yard. Clutching Mr. Henderson's arm, they found nothing. No signs of forced entry. No evidence anyone had been inside. The house was empty, secure, undisturbed. The only unusual thing was that Lauren's circuit breaker had been thrown, which explained the power outage. But the breaker box was in the basement, and the basement door had been locked from inside. "Ma'am, are you sure someone was in your house?" the lead officer asked gently. "You mentioned you'd been drinking wine." "I wasn't drunk," Lauren said firmly. "I heard them. I heard my husband's voice, but he's in Seattle. Check the security cameras. That person on my porch, they had no face." The officers reviewed the Ring camera footage. Lauren watched over their shoulders, ready to vindicate herself. But the footage showed nothing. No figure on her porch at 12:13 a.m. No faceless person. Just an empty front step, exactly as it had been all night. "But I saw it," Lauren insisted. "I have the notification on my phone. Motion detected at 12:13. The officer showed her his screen. "Ma'am, your doorbell didn't record any motion alert at 12:13. The last recorded event was at 7:35 p.m. when you came home from work." Lauren grabbed her phone and pulled up the Ring app. The officer was right. No alert at 12:13. No video of the faceless figure. Nothing. "This doesn't make sense," Lauren whispered. "I saw it. I talked to David on the phone. He heard it too. I'll have an officer call your husband to confirm," the lead officer said, his tone sympathetic but skeptical. They did call David, who confirmed he'd spoken to Lauren around midnight, that she'd said someone was pretending to be him. But when they asked if he'd heard anyone else in the background, David hesitated. "No," he said, "I didn't hear anyone. I just heard Lauren breathing hard, like she was scared. I told her to get out of the house because she sounded terrified." The officers recommended Lauren stay with the Hendersons for the night. They'd file a report. Without evidence of an intruder or crime, there was little they could do. Lauren spent that night on the Hendersons' guest bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in her mind. Had she imagined it all? The knocking, the faceless figure, the voice pretending to be David? But it had been so real. She'd seen it, heard it, felt the terror coursing through her veins. At 3:47 a.m., Lauren's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I'm still here, Lauren. I'm always here. You just can't see me anymore. But I can see you. And next time when I knock, you'll open the door. They always do eventually. Sleep well." The text was followed by a photo, taken from inside her bedroom, looking down at her empty bed. The cover still rumpled where she'd been sitting hours earlier. The timestamp on the photo, 3:46 a.m. 1 minute ago. Lauren showed the police the text, but when they checked her phone, the message was gone. No record of it in her text. No trace in her phone's data. David came home the next day and hired a security company to install cameras throughout the house, change all the locks, and add motion sensors. They found nothing unusual, no evidence anyone had been inside. But Lauren knew better. Sometimes, late at night, she hears 3 soft knocks from somewhere in the house. Knocks that the security cameras never record. that David never hears, that leave no evidence except Lauren's racing heart and the certainty that something is there watching, waiting, biding its time. She hasn't been alone in the house since. She can't bear it, because she knows that whatever knocked on her door that night wasn't human, wasn't bound by locks or cameras or police officers. And someday it will knock again. And someday, despite her better judgment, despite her fear, Lauren knows she'll answer. Because that's what it wants. That's what it's always wanted. To be let in,